Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this special municipal council meeting, Tuesday, April 9th. This is our budget meeting. I will call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we're in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Are there any changes or approval to the agenda? I'd ask for the... Should we approve the agenda first? Yeah, we're going to approve the agenda first. Would someone move the approval of the agenda? Moved by Councillor Wynot, seconded by Councillor Moore. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. Councillor Staton.
Do you want the whole motion or just the fact that I want to add a motion?
So we add it to the...
You don't need a separate agenda item.
So are we putting this in with the motions after we have our presentation, or are we?
It's up to you.
So if I've understood correctly, you'd like to make a motion with respect to the budget.
That's exactly true.
So that there's no need to add that as a separate agenda item. You'll receive a presentation on the budget from your Director of Finance.
And at that point, then you could make a motion.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So good evening and welcome to our 2024-2025 budget meeting. I am pleased with the process we undertook to reach the budget that will be presented here tonight. The budget is the biggest policy decision that Council makes in a year. Council must balance provincial and federal requirements, long-term initiatives, immediate needs and opportunities, and feedback from the public. This council understands that many people are struggling. One of the most important things this budget does is offer targeted relief to those who need it most. The budget includes a significant increase for the property tax rebate program. The property tax rebate is a targeted tax relief strategy to help those who need it most, like seniors or people with lower incomes who are homeowners. Council has increased the property tax rebate by $550,000 to $753,400. This is equivalent to reducing the tax rate by 2 cents. And again, it targets those who need it the most. We believe we lead the province outside of Halifax Regional Municipality with the amount returned to low-income property owners. This budget also includes expanded funding for our Pro Kids program, allowing more children to access cultural and recreational opportunities. It includes funding for a new Pro Fund program, which provides financial assistance to adults who, due to the lack of funds, are not able to participate in sport, recreation, and cultural activities. Community groups will see increased grants in this budget, and we are contributing more funding than ever before to the Fire Service, the Regional Emergency Management Office, and important services like Lunenburg County Wheels. These are vital community services that offer direct support to people that need it. Through the fire tax rate, MODL collects more than $4.7 million each year and sends this directly back to the fire departments. On top of this, MODL spends more than $400,000 to provide additional services to our fire departments. This includes a full-time fire services coordinator, annual recognition events grant, leadership training grants, a family and members assistance program, an annual recruitment campaign, group personnel insurance, WCB premiums, and money placed in reserves to begin saving to fund a regional fire training facility. Our mandatory contributions have increased dramatically. The provincial government requires municipalities to contribute property taxes to the province to support education, assessment services, and libraries. This is nearly 40% of municipal expenditures. Another 15.5% is committed towards mandatory expenses for policing, road maintenance, and waste collection. The waste collection costs alone have increased by nearly 20%. This budget secures our future. It ensures that we make wise decisions that keep the tax rate stable for residents. We are investing in major water and wastewater projects to ensure we do not incur failing systems in the future. We are investing in infrastructure upgrades that will open areas for future residential development, including affordable housing. This will ensure that growth continues in our municipality. We are investing in parks, open spaces, and trails to ensure they remain safe, free, and accessible for residents to enjoy. We are investing over $645,000 into climate change projects, including a significant investment in a proposed community solar garden. If the application is approved, we will work with other municipalities to provide clean, renewable solar electricity to approximately 1,000 homes in Nova Scotia, avoiding 6,000 tons of carbon emissions. The upfront investment in this important project will result in a long-term revenue-generating project that is good for the environment and the bottom line. This budget includes money put into reserves for future capital projects. We are setting aside these funds as part of a responsible fiscal strategy for important infrastructure projects that we know are coming within the next 5 years. I would like to thank our CAO, Tom McEwen, our Director of Finance, Elena Wenzel, and all staff for incorporating Council's direction into this budget and delivering a strong, balanced financial plan for the municipality. At this time, I will turn it over to our Director of Finance, Elena Wenzel. I also would like to note that we are live streaming tonight via YouTube, and if you go to @MODL Nova Scotia, it will be there. And also a few housekeeping items, that the washrooms are located outside the doors there, and there is quite a few out there for anyone who would like that. Otherwise, I will turn it over to Elena. She doesn't.
Oh, there we go. We've got it. Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and members of the public who are in attendance tonight. It is my pleasure to introduce the proposed 2024-25 operating and capital budgets for the municipality of the District of Lunenburg. The primary goal of a budget is to have a realistic, achievable financial plan that enables the municipality to achieve certain specific outcomes. The Municipal Government Act requires municipalities to annually approve a balanced budget. It is, however, also incumbent upon us to demonstrate responsible stewardship with respect to the financial resources that our citizens entrust with us. For example, do we have a responsible plan, and did we do what we said we would do? The proposed budget is balanced, it is based on a responsible plan, and we will be able to demonstrate our continued success. The tax rates remain unchanged from last year, and we have a balanced plan to address our residents' needs. The draft operating budget has a surplus, with tax rates remaining unchanged from last year, with a balanced plan to address the needs of our residents. Staff operationalize Council's vision, mission, and strategic priorities. The breathtaking natural beauty of the municipality of the District of Lunenburg is home to thriving communities with unique cultural identities. Growth centers support our diversified economies, driven by our residents' passion for the place they call home. With our strong economy, we can live, work, and raise families here. We are a destination for visitors attracted to our vibrant parks, beaches, and hiking trails. As leaders in sustainability, we passionately protect our natural environment. We are wise financial managers, strategic planners, sustainable community builders, and collaborative engagers. Council strategic priorities are the Osprey Village Growth Center, their Climate Change Action Plan, Recreate Parks, and the MODL 2040 Municipal Planning Strategy. The 2024-25 budget has a total revenue of $44,718,400. The total expenditures are $44,691,400, with the resulting surplus of $27,000. The capital budget and Canada Community Building Fund, or CCBF, investment totals $11,595,536, with no capital borrowing. The proposed residential tax rate is 81 cents per $100 of assessment. The proposed commercial tax rate is 1.957 cents per $100 of assessment. The proposed commercial seasonal tax rate is 1.468 per $100 of assessment. All of these tax rates are unchanged from the previous year. As well, the sewer rates remain unchanged. Streetlight rates are adjusted annually to recover actual costs, as are hydrant rates. This jurisdictional scan includes all rural municipalities and our 3 neighboring towns. It is sorted lowest to highest and has highlighted the surrounding municipalities. The municipality of Lunenburg is tied for the 3rd lowest residential tax rate and the 7th lowest commercial rate in our area and among rural municipalities. It is important to note that this budget ensures that all existing service standards are maintained and some services are expanded. The average property tax bill is $1,849. Based on the Financial Condition Index, which we will look at later on, the municipality's residential tax effort is just over 2% of the median household income in our district. Because 90% of our residential assessment accounts are capped, most taxpayers will see an increase of 3.2%, which is the cap rate based on Nova Scotia CPI, providing tax rate stability and predictability to our residents. This budget also provides for initiatives that are important to our council and residents to help achieve our mission as outlined in council strategic goals. Municipal Council understands that costs are increasing for all residents. Instead of reducing the tax rates, funds equal to a 2-cent tax rate reduction have been budgeted in the property tax rebate program. This is a targeted tax relief strategy that will put funds back in the hands of our residents that need it the most, families with lower incomes and senior citizens. The rebates for 2024-25, for incomes under $28,560, the maximum rebate would be up to $650. For incomes between $28,561 and $39,984, the maximum rebate will be up to $450. For incomes between $39,985 and $51,840, the rebate will be up to $250. Looking back over the past fiscal year, there are several successes from Council's 23-24 budget plan that helped achieve our strategic goals. Council is responsible for the oversight of the municipality's finances and making life affordable for its residents. This is done through setting the budget and monitoring the implementation through variance reports and year-end financial statements. The 5-year financial strategy is fully operationalized and is used to meet the financial goals for the tax rates, debts, and reserves. The Municipal Council is working diligently to build the local economy with its internet connectivity strategy by leveraging partnerships with multiple private sector internet providers, including Eastlink, TNC, and Bell, to provide 98% of homes and businesses with reliable high-speed internet. A partnership with Lumia Healthcare was formalized, and work on the Stonemont Active Seniors Facility is nearing completion. Council is also committed to protecting the local environment. Solar panels were placed on the Municipal Services Building here to lower the municipal carbon footprint as part of the corporate sustainability plan. Council moved forward with an agreement to build a community solar garden in partnership with 4 other municipal units. Work was completed on inflow and infiltration investigation on the municipal wastewater plants to determine where stormwater might be infiltrating these treatment facilities. Council has been committed to investing in healthy and active lifestyles in our community. We work with local trail groups and community organizations, providing grants and support. The completion of a park standard and accessibility plan will inform the capital budget requirements for park infrastructure. Managing Pro Kids, a program that removes financial barriers to ensure all children in our municipality have an opportunity to participate in sport, recreation, and cultural activities, and the creation of Pro Fund to aid our adult population in the same manner. Art was placed in the LaHave Sunset Park, and a trail connector was built here in Cookville. Council should be congratulated for their contribution to the quality of life in our municipality. Because the majority of revenues generated are from property taxes, staff look at the assessment roll and trends to determine future revenue growth in our municipality. Assessments trends have been fluctuating over the past years. The COVID-19 pandemic saw a large spike in market values of properties, which continue to stay at this level. This year, residential assessment values are up 8.7%. Commercial assessments are up 14.3%. Commercial assessment has increased due to the new builds over the past 2 years. Deed transfer tax revenue is starting to decline. Staff have budgeted conservatively this year. Deed transfer tax can be used as an economic indicator. The municipality charges 1.25% deed transfer tax on all property sales. The decline in deed transfer tax collected is an indication that the real estate markets appear to be back to pre-pandemic levels. The rate of 1.25% on the sale value has remained unchanged since July 2010. As mentioned earlier, it is the responsibility of our municipality to operate within the budget approved by Municipal Council. There are no tax rate increases in the proposed budget. The province has developed financial indicators called the Financial Condition Index that help municipal governments assess their overall financial position. Municipal governments are evaluated based on a set of thresholds for 12 indicators. Our municipality performs better than the benchmark on 11 out of the 12 indicators, including excellent scores for reserves, deficits, capital assets, growth in tax base, and debt servicing. The 3-year change in tax base is yellow, as the municipality's tax base growth in 21-22 was below the CPI calculation, which used CPI change data from September 2019 to September 22. These are the latest figures we have from the province. The municipality has grown rapidly in the last 2 years, and we are confident that this indicator will be markedly improved when the next FCI is released. We are pleased to report that there is no borrowing for capital projects again this year, and the municipality is debt-free. We'll now look at the details of the budget. A key factor in developing the municipal budget is the amount of expenditures which are already predetermined. The provincial government legislates that municipalities must contribute property taxes to the province to support education, assessment services, and libraries. This equates to 39.2% of all municipal expenditures. Another 15.5% is committed towards mandatory expenses which the district must make. Some examples of these are the contract with the RCMP for policing, municipal and J-class roads, maintenance, and waste collection costs. This leaves 45% for municipal expenditures, which are available for other community and council priorities. This is a list of the mandatory expenditures that we have to transfer to the province. The education rate, obviously, is the highest transfer that we make. It's just over $10 million. The rate has not changed in many years. It's 38 cents per $100 of uniform assessment. Our costs are increased due to the increase in uniform assessment that we have from the prior year. The Property Valuation Services Corporation has given us our 2024 contribution estimate for assessment services. A change in provincial legislation has removed the requirement for municipalities to contribute to correctional services and provincial regional housing. The library is now under the new funding formula, which sees no increase this year. We have estimated RCMP costs at 5%. This gives us an expected overall increase of 4.98% for these costs. The budget summary details the actual spent in 2022-23, the 2023-24 approved budget, and how we get to the 2024-25 proposed budget. So if you look across the top, you see the adjusted baseline, which is in the center of your screen, which is the preliminary budget. So we add or subtract recommended additions, which gives us the proposed budget, plus, proposed budget. The percent change over the prior year is on the far right of the table. The column on the left includes the following budget categories: Gross expenditures, which are expenditures before revenue is subtracted. Non-tax revenue, which is interest on investments and taxes. Thank you. Administration charges, rental income, application fees, and other charges. Net expenditures is the difference between the gross expenditures and non-tax or departmental revenue. Tax revenue is the amount to be funded through taxes. This next slide highlights the major budget areas for the municipality. We will discuss the adjusted baseline and additions, which are the middle two columns of your screen. At the top, you see general government services. That includes council, administration, grants, and assessment services. These have increased by 16.48% and are budgeted at $7.6 million. Half of this increase is attributed to the new property tax rebate program. There is a municipal election in this fiscal year, which is also included in this section, as well as increased grants to community organizations. Protective services includes police, fire protection, building inspection, regional emergency measures, and animal control increased by 3.76% and are budgeted at $11.11 million. Transportation services, including municipal roads, service exchange roads, and street lighting, increased by 16.17% and are budgeted at $2.9 million. Additions include a new private road maintenance area for which rates are collected from the adjacent landowners. Environmental health, including sewage treatment and solid waste management, increased by 14.16% and are budgeted at $4.1 million. This includes an additional staff member for wastewater operations and an 18% increase in the waste collection contract. Environmental planning and zoning includes planning and building inspection, as well as economic development, which has increased by 14.4% and is budgeted at $3.3 million. Additions include a 100% funded floodline mapping and mitigation program. Recreation services, which include in-house expenditures as well as the Lunenburg County Lifestyle Center and libraries, increased by 34.9% and are budgeted at $4.1 million. This includes investment additions for enhanced park maintenance and year-round park access, as well as increased costs to operate the LCLC. This leads us to a total budget which includes $44.6 million in expenditures, a 14.85% increase from last year. So we had to compare last year's budget to this year's budget on the expenditure side. So last year we had a $38 million budget. This year we have a $44.6 million budget, which is a $5.6 million increase. I know the amounts are small here, but many of these things were out of our control. So things like education, paving shoulders, the property tax rebate, which is a new program for council, the floodline mapping, which is in and out, comes through a grant, the road paving partnerships to pave J-class roads. This year, the Point Road has been committed at $334,000, as well as we have the curbside garbage collection, CPI and council and staff wages, additional staff for wastewater treatment plant and REMO, our RCMP, the LCLC, the Joint Services Board costs for the waste site, an allowance for uncollectible taxes, ball field maintenance, ensuring that our park trees, hemlocks are inoculated, increased trail grants, provincial road contributions, the Osprey Trail, which is a new trail added this year because we just built it, so we will need to maintain it. The increases in Pro Kids and the Pro Fund adult subsidy, as well as community operating grants and an increased grant to the Lunenburg Community Center and Arena. The majority of the municipality's revenue is raised through property taxes. Area rates are set to support operating costs like fire protection, street lights, and sewer operations. As well, transfer taxes on the sale of property help offset the revenue required to be raised through the general property tax rate. Non-tax revenue consists of interest on investments and taxes, rental income, and fees for services, including regional emergency management operations, shared building inspection services, recreation programs, and licenses and permits. In 2019, Council completed a full review of the sewer rates and made the decision to reduce rates based on that review, which will actually be updated in this coming fiscal year. The rates were set so that the users of the system would cover the cost of the wastewater treatment and collection, and that the rates will remain stable over the next 5 years. Hydrant rates are increased based on the cost of the service. These rates have been previously approved by council. The Hebbville Village Commission collects $10 flat fee per property. This rate must be annually approved by municipal council. Each year, the municipality levies a streetlight rate on tax bills to pay for the cost of the streetlights in areas served by them. The cost is shared by the property owners in the designated streetlight area. Because these values change on an annual basis, an overcollection or undercollection of streetlight charges can occur. This amount is carried forward to the streetlight account when determining the budgeted streetlight rate for the next year. As a result, some streetlight charges have changed. These rates have also been approved already by council. Our 5-year financial strategy forecasting model shows that council's priority of providing stable tax rates while investing in expanded services like recreation, economic development, housing initiatives, and renewing wastewater infrastructure is achievable. The municipality's reserve funds consist of operating and capital reserves. The reserve funds are used to help council meet its strategic priorities without affecting the tax rate, which supports the operating budget. The operating reserve fund includes reserves derived from the operating budget surpluses, as well as amounts for depreciation and sewer reserves. Operating reserves are an allocation of revenues set aside at the discretion of council to provide future expenditure requirements such as infrastructure replacement. Operating reserves may be established for any municipal purpose, such as working funds, contingencies, and asset replacements. The use of reserves assists the municipality in maintaining its financial position. Operating reserves are more flexible in how they can be used compared to capital reserves. Capital reserve funds are segregated and restricted to meet a specific identified purpose. They are established through a bylaw of council or by a requirement of provincial legislation. The Canada Community Building Fund, or CCBF, is a capital reserve which is further restricted as specific criteria must be met in order to spend it. The 5-year financial strategy looks at a projected reserves amount. The red line on this graph shows the financial condition index threshold for operating reserves, which are the dark blue bars on the graph. The financial model in the strategy helps to ensure that we are keeping adequate reserves by giving us this 5-year projection. The FCI threshold for operating reserves is set at 10% of operating expenditures. It measures whether the municipality set aside sufficient funds to help mitigate any unforeseen risks or future needs. The 5-year capital plan includes $63.2 million in capital projects. After grants and third-party contributions, the net cost to the municipality is $21.5 million. So it's the green line in the middle of your screen there, with a potential of $2.4 million in capital borrowing, which is the red. As part of our financial strategy, we continue to look for additional grants for projects and would only borrow for those projects that have a long lifespan, like wastewater treatment or the solar garden. The solar garden in particular also has the potential for revenue generation that would offset any borrowing costs for that project. The municipality has budgeted $11.5 million on capital expenditures and the Canada Community Fund investment for 24-25. After grants, reserve funding, and other revenue sources, there is no borrowing required for capital projects. Because we have leveraged grants and other sources of funding, the municipality will only be investing 40 cents on every capital project dollar spent. Municipal Council has declared a climate change emergency and has set a goal to reduce corporate GHG emissions by 40% by 2030. The planned community solar garden will generate 7 megawatts of green renewable energy. This is a new revenue stream that will contribute to the cost of municipal services for years to come. This year's capital budget includes costs for site selection and design with construction plan for next year. As well, we will complete the fleet charger project at the Municipal Services Building. The Osprey Village Growth Center projects include land acquisition to facilitate deliveries with public transit and Champlain Road extension to come in the future. An enhancement plan for the Osprey Village will inform design and construction for beautification infrastructure. The water tower site selection and preparation will take place this year with plans for construction to start next fiscal. The Cookville wastewater treatment plant expansion will begin, and an on-site generator will be purchased for the Nathan Cirillo pump station to ensure continuity of wastewater treatment services during power outages. Paving municipal roads continues to be a priority for this council. Council has submitted its road paving priorities to the province for 3.12 kilometers. The Point Road will be repaved this year. Others on the list include Darby's Head Road, St. Augustine Road, Riverside, Freeman, Riverview, and Church. An environmental assessment at Center School is also planned, with demolition and soil remediation to happen in next fiscal. The municipality has made a commitment to ensure parks and open space access to residents with park improvements and year-round maintenance. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just booting her right ahead. I wasn't even looking. Yeah, no, that's okay. Thank you for catching me. So, we talked about parks? Yes, we did, but we did not talk about recreation infrastructure. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I can. Sure, I'm sorry. Yep. Nerves. I'll slow it down. Yeah. Other recreation infrastructure includes annual contributions to trail groups for capital refurbishment of existing trails and an investment in art on the trail and in our parks. A placeholder for future land purchases is an annual commitment. Paved shoulders are also a priority in the active transportation plan, where we will see paved shoulders in Martins River this year. Parasport equipment, including wheelchairs and a storage trailer, will enable access for all to play a variety of sports, and an electric bike feasibility study and implementation will empower residents to be able to borrow bikes from the local library. A commitment to cleaner environment and improving water and wastewater services continues to be a council priority. Existing municipal sewer systems will see upgrades and refurbishments with a focus on the Cookville system to ensure it can meet the growing need arising for the new construction here in Osprey Village. Thank you for taking the time to review the draft 2024-2025 budget this evening. The budget is Council's single most important policy document. This year's budget continues a strong tradition of financial management in the municipality of the District of Lunenburg. The proposed budget hits key targets of Council, including keeping tax rates constant, providing funding and resources to address strategic priorities, continuing to provide the high level of service expected by our residents, and providing a budget that is responsive to our residents' needs. I will now ask Council to make the budget motions.
Okay. At this time, I believe Councillor Staton, you had a motion?
I do, and I'd like to make it before we approve this budget, so that if there's a delay or that if we need to refer anything, we have the opportunity to do it before we make the rest of the motions. So, to the mayor.
Could you speak into the mic, please?
I'm sorry, I thought I was.
Yep.
To Mayor, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Mayor Bolivar-Getson and councillors, I move that we approve a 5-cent tax rebate per residential assessment, and for the dollars, which is about $2 million, to come from the Reserve Operating Fund.
Is there a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Councillor Greig. Discussion on the motion. Deputy Mayor Royko.
Could you further explain what you mean by that, by a rebate? Could you further explain?
I will try, but a rebate means that we give back every residential assessment 5 cents per $100 of assessment as a rebate on their tax bill.
And for just
We
this
only
year,
have
how
the
many
power
years?
to do it this year. We don't have any legislative power to go beyond this year. So it's only, that's all I'm concerned with is this year. Next year, somebody else can make that decision.
Thank you.
Councillor Greig.
Thank you. In the opening of this meeting, Mayor, you referenced we're providing targeted relief to those who need it most. Almost all of our residents need it. It's not just the low-income property owners who need it. It's our families with multiple parents and guardians working to put food on the table for their families, to have their children enrolled in activities. It's for all those homeowners who are just working their butts off to try to keep up with the life expenses. Everything has gone up, from home maintenance, insurance, our assessments have gone up. If we have this one little opportunity to provide relief to those property owners, to our own residents, then let's do it. Looking at the presentation that Elena made, we have 23 million in operating reserves, and the projected amount in 2028, 2029 is still 13 million. Let's take 2 million out, put it back in the pockets of our taxpayers.
Further questions, comments? Councillor Moore.
Well, I'm all for giving back to the residents, but what I'm afraid of is we've got like 60 to $100 million worth of infrastructure in sewer and water coming down the pipes for growth in this municipality, and growth is what's needed, so I'm told, and I agree with that. So if we are going to take money out of reserves to give back to the taxpayer, which I'm not saying I totally disagree with giving back, but the fact is we're going to have to either borrow more when we get into this $40 million sewer upgrade for the housing that needs to come here for growth. And my district has a sewer that it's ancient, it's old, and it needs lots and lots and lots of upgrades if we are going to continue with growth in the municipality district of Lunenburg. I'm not. I'm kind of in between here, but right now I cannot support that motion because I feel as though we're only going to have to take it on the other end, away from the taxpayer, and increase their rate, and then also increase our borrowing, which will cost them also.
Councillor Hubley.
I agree with Councillor Moore. I feel that a tax rebate at this time will hinder growth in the overall future of the municipality.
Councillor Bell.
Thank you. We've been able to keep the tax rate at a given amount for over a decade. That comes from responsible financial management. It includes making reserves and using reserves to smooth the expenses over years, the operating expenses or known expenses, and our known expenses we know will be over $63 million. This means that you might cushion this year, but a future council is maybe going to have to borrow $2 million and then have debt servicing fees on top of that. I think it's better to do a little bit to your reserves each year so that you can smooth the known expenses as they come out. And we worked on a 5-year plan or more, and we know some of the expenses that are coming. What we don't know is some of the unexpected expenses which can throw this all out of whack. I worked for many years with various councils to get to a position where we're debt-free. I would hate to see a future council be saddled with extreme borrowing in order to meet their needs. So I won't be supporting it.
Councillor Staton?
Thank you. With the concern about increases, because we're growing, we will have additional revenue through those growth increases. So it's not like you're spending money and you're never going to see an increase in assessments or in the growth that's here and the assessment money that's going to be coming back to us through that. So, I mean, you all have a right to an opinion, and I'm not saying you don't. All I'm saying is be aware of the hardships of a lot of people in this municipality, and you have an opportunity to relieve that just a little bit.
Councillor Haysom.
Thanks so much, and I do appreciate the sentiment here. Something that we've heard from our Director of Finance is that the best way to deal with tax rates and to help residents deal with tax rates is to provide a stable tax rate and to provide targeted support for those who need it most. I know that the cost of everything is going up. The same is true for this municipality. And we've seen it where we put, we get a quote for how much it's going to cost to pave shoulders, and a different amount comes back. These are items that are important for our residents, for our municipality, and I think that when we sit around this table and make decisions, we have to think about the long-term impacts of what this municipality can do as it grows and moves into the future. And I think we're doing exciting things, and I think we're doing things that are really good for our residents. So I understand the sentiment, and I appreciate it, and I'm always willing to look at and improve the sort of direct and targeted supports that we can give to people in our communities. But I also think that wise fiscal management is something that is really needed at this point in time. So I'm afraid I can't support that motion.
Councillor Vino.
Thank you. I'm just going to repeat some of the statements that I said last week when we first presented with this budget. And we have been able to maintain the tax rate all while with the increases to expenses that we've been experiencing, and still have been able to provide continued services and expand in those by increasing the property tax rebate and pro-fund. We are doing what we can, and I don't think going backwards with the tax rate now is the right thing to do going forward. I think it's gonna come back around to bite the next council and the residents and the taxpayers' money in the end. So I won't be supporting the motion.
Deputy Mayor Oigel.
Thank you very much. For the past 4 years, I have learned a lot in this position. And I also feel that we need to prepare for the future because of all the things that have happened that just come up to this council. Things that, like the roads and the extra costs and burden, can't even get the right word. Somebody, thank you. Future councils, whether I'm here or not, is just not fair. It's not fair, and I think that we need to prepare for the future, and I won't be supporting this at this time.
Further discussion. I also would like to comment, and I would ask our Director of Finance, the projected borrowing that we have in the 5-year financial strategy, I believe, leads to over $1 million a year in interest payments. Is that correct?
It's about $1 million with principal and interest payments, which do decline.
Yes, okay.
But the 5-year
Principal
plan.
and interest.
Yes. But the 5-year plan looks at that, and it also looks at increases in assessment and things like that already, like it keeps the tax
So
rate the
that's
same.
already factored
It's
in the
already built into
projections
the
and the
model.
trends that we anticipate having
Yes, that's correct.
based on that. And again, I have to echo a lot of what has been said around the table with recognizing going out to tenders and RFPs for different things that we will be doing. And one of the biggest expenses that we have coming down the pipe is the expansion of our Cookville wastewater treatment plant. And if that comes in at the costs that we're seeing with most of our tendering, it's 2 and 3 times over what we're anticipating when we go out. I think that a lot of this is still market-driven. It's supply-demand. It's the economics of the day is what we're seeing. But I really think that we do need to be accountable to the taxpayer and the future dollars of this municipality when it comes to budgeting. And for many years, we didn't have a 5-year financial strategy. We went year to year, budget to budget, and that's just how we did this. Being able to see that forecast and understand how budgets work definitely sets you up to realize what projected costs you have coming down the pipes for the projects. And a lot of these projects that we're talking about here in the budget are multi-year projects and will require multi-year funding as well for. I'd like to say that the interest rates are going to come down tomorrow and that everything is going to get all better and we'll be able to go back to life as it was pre-COVID, but I'm not seeing that happening. And I think it would, when I look at this,
Like the roads.
I truly
and the
believe that
extra
we should
costs.
stay the course. There's opportunity down the road if we see that things are falling. And I recognize that
Whether
people
I'm
do
here
need
or not
a
is
break.
just
There's
not
no doubt in my
fair.
mind that people
It's not
need a break.
fair, and I think that we.
But are we falsely giving them a break to increase it the next year? I truly don't know. We should, there's opportunity down the road if we, but I really think that no doubt having those reserves, but for giving them things that are happening, from unexpected weather events to you name it, that washes out our own infrastructure. We also have infrastructure that we're responsible for. It's not just provincial and federal infrastructure that is damaged when we have weather events. We also have things that happen to our own infrastructure. And I think that, again, it's important to look at this. I do support the budget in its entirety, the way it sits here. And I think that we do need to look to the future as well and what our anticipated costs are based on our 5-year financial strategy. Are there any other comments, questions?
Question on the motion.
Question on the motion, and the motion is to give a 5-cent tax rebate totaling, I believe it's closer to probably 1.875 million is what it would be, to the residential taxpayers. And that would not be the commercial, correct? In that
The
statement,
commercial was not included in the motion.
because we are not able to do that.
That's right, and it was a rebate, not a tax rate deduction.
I did say rebate, I believe. Yes. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Opposed is Councillor DeLong, Councillor Wynot, Councillor Vino, Councillor Haysom, Councillor Bell, Deputy Mayor Oikel, Councillor Hubley, Councillor Moore, and myself, Mayor Bolivar Getson. Motion is defeated. At this time, I would ask Councillor Haysom if she would be prepared to move that first motion.
Thank you to Her Honor Mayor Bolivar Getson and members of council. I move that Municipal Council approve the 2024-2025 operating budget in the amount of $44,718,400, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Haysom. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor DeLong. Discussion on the motion. Question called for. All those in favor? Opposed? Opposed is Councillor Staton. Motion is carried. The second motion, I would ask Councillor Hubley if she would be prepared to move that motion.
Yes, thank you. To Her Honor Mayor Bolivar Getson and members of council, I move that Municipal Council approve the 2024-2025 residential tax rate of 81 cents per $100 of assessment, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Hubley. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Vino. I believe beat you to that. Discussion on the motion. Question called for. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. We'll move down to the next motion. I'd ask Councillor Vino if she'd be prepared to move that motion.
Certainly, thank you. To Her Honor Mayor Bolivar Getson and members of council, I move that Municipal Council approve the 2024-2025 commercial tax rate of 1.957 per $100 of assessment, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Vino. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Oikel. Discussion? Question called for. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. We'll move down to the next motion. I'd ask Councillor DeLong if she would be prepared to move that motion.
Certainly. To honor Mayor Bolivar Getson and members of council, I move that municipal council approve the 2024-2025 seasonal commercial tax rate of $1.468 per $100 of assessment. I so move.
Moved by Councillor DeLong. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Haysom. Discussion on the motion. Question called for. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. We'll move down to the next motion. I'd ask Deputy Mayor Oikel if she'd be prepared to move that motion.
Certainly. To her honor, Mayor Bolivar Getson and members of council, I move that municipal council approve the 2024-2025 flat fee rate, area rate of $10 per residential and commercial property in the village of Hebbville on behalf of the Hebbville Village Commission, and I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Oikel. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Hobley. Discussion on the motion. Question called for. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. Councillor Bell, would you be prepared to move the next motion?
Thank you, Your Honor. To her honor, Mayor Bolivar Getson and members of council, I move that municipal council approve the reserve transfers as noted in the draft 2024-2025 operating budget. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Bell. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Moore. Discussion on the motion. Question called for. All those in favor? Opposed? Opposed is Councillor Staton. Motion is carried. Down to the capital budget, and I would ask if Councillor Wynot would be prepared to move that motion.
To her honor, Mayor Bolivar Getson and members of council, I move that municipal council approve the 24-25 capital budget and the Canada Community Building Fund investment in the amount of $11,595,536, and further that the 5-year capital plan be approved as presented, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Wynot. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor DeLong. Discussion on the motion. Councillor Staton.
Question, I probably know the answer, but I'd like to have an official answer. The 5-year capital plan be approved as presented. That doesn't mean that what we have in the 5-year capital plan cannot change, does it?
That is absolutely correct. Each year, the budget is approved. This is a forecasted capital budget.
I just want to make sure that we're not.
Based on the best information that we have, there are some things that are committed. Go ahead. I'll turn it over to our Director of Finance.
Thank you, Your Worship. As part of your Canada Community Fund building agreement, where you get the gas tax money, you have to approve as a council a 5-year capital plan. So that's why this is part of the motion, even though you're only really approving that staff
This year.
do the 24-25 capital budget.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Question called for. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. Councillor Moore, would you be prepared to move the next motion?
To her honor, Mayor Bolivar Getson and members of council, I move that municipal council approve the 2024-25 reserve transfers as presented in the 5-year capital plan.
Moved by Councillor Moore. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Bell. Discussion on the motion. Question called for. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. That concludes the, I will turn it back over to our Director of Finance.
I would be remiss if I did not thank everyone who collaborated on this budget, including the mayor and council, our strategic management team, our CEO, Tom McEwen, Alex Demerick, our deputy, Trudy Painter, Director of Recreation and Tourism, Jeff Merrill, our Director of Planning Services and Building, Stephen Pace, our Director of Engineering and Public Works, Dave Waters, our Director of Economic Development, my accounting staff, Angela Vino, and our Communications and Corporate Services Manager, Sarah Kwarski. And I'm Elena Wenzel, Director of Finance, and I'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm pleased with the budget that was passed here tonight. This budget underscores the municipality's unwavering commitment to strong financial management while continuing to meet the evolving needs of our residents. Tonight we heard about our 5-year financial strategy that serves as our compass in our budget preparation. This strategy and this budget allows us to invest in our 4 major areas of priority, to target support to the residents most in need and lay the groundwork for our collective future. We have done this while maintaining a stable and predictable tax rate. This will be the 14th consecutive budget in which Council has not raised the tax rate. This is a testament to our dedication to fiscal prudence, even amidst the challenges posed by the growth our municipality is experiencing. Tonight's budget presentation slides will be available on our website at modl.ca/budget, as will the most important highlights. The detailed budget document will be posted within a few weeks. I appreciate everyone who came out here tonight for your commitment to staying informed with your municipality. I encourage you to visit our website and sign up for our monthly email newsletters, MODL Messenger, and to visit our project website at engage.modl.ca. By doing so, you can learn more about projects happening that may affect you, including many that will be talked about or have been talked about here tonight. Our council remains steadfast in our commitment to continue to develop the municipality as a place where individuals can not only earn a livelihood, but also establish roots and flourish. Through responsible financial stewardship and targeted investments, we are fostering an environment conducive to sustainable growth and prosperity for all. I also want to echo our Director of Finance thanks to our directors and all staff who have contributed to putting the budget document together. And that concludes our budget presentation, and I would ask for a motion for adjournment. Moved by Councillor Wynot, seconded by Councillor Vino. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you.